What's up, y'all? It's your boy P-Light, aka the Brick Slinger. And guess what? Your boy got something to say. Some of you probably already heard about Baraka doing his top 10 things that will save Christian hip-hop. And some of the things that's been listed was interesting, while others I could consider questionable or just straight up not interesting. But apparently no big deal, make a big deal out of it, because one of the things that was on the list got his attention. And here's the thing. The number one thing that was on his list was you got to put Jesus back in the music. Another thing was about pronunciation and enunciation. Folks got to get that English game, as he basically was saying. Another thing he basically was saying was, if you're a black artist doing CCM, you need to do at least a couple of Baptist, Pentecostals, and all that, which was a joke. I could tell that was a joke. But here's my thing: to say on the list that Jesus need to be back in the music. If anything, names need to be mentioned of who's not putting Jesus in their music. One young dude by the name of Caleb Gordon, he was on his soapbox and said, saying Jesus 50,000 times doesn't make it a Christian song. That was a big reach. Because to be honest, ain't nobody saying Jesus 50-something thousand times just to make it a solid Christian joint. Because a secular artist can say Jesus 50,000 times, which automatically doesn't make it a Christian joint, but it will get played on gospel stations. Case in point, Jesus Walked by Kanye West. So, technically speaking, you can say God 20,000 times and it still get played in gospel stations. But my thing is this: it's not that Jesus needs to be back in the music, because there's a lot of artists, especially in the new generations of Christian hip hoppers, that is having Jesus in their stuff, in their music, like No Big Deal, like Tory Deshaun, like Hovey. You know what I'm saying? Like 1K Few and many others. However, my thing is this: it's not that Jesus is not in the music. To me, it's mostly the gospel not being displayed in the music. Because many people can talk about Jesus and mention Jesus all the time, but when it comes to the gospel, you know what I'm saying? That's what needs to be back into the music. Theology needs to be back in the music. But I could be wrong on that as well. But at the same time, ain't nobody getting that in the radios. You know what I'm saying? Big love for Boost Nation, Boost Radio. But they're not playing everything from Christian hip hop. They're not playing all the Christian hip hop. They're just playing enough Christian hip hop to balance out the CCM pop. You know what I'm saying? The Christian pop. You know what I'm saying? They playing enough of Lecrae to balance out every Toby Mac. You know what I'm saying? They playing enough One Day to balance up Lauren Daigle. You know what I'm saying? They only balancing it out. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. The problem is, for me, is there's not enough platform for every Christian hip hop artist. There's enough for one, but not enough for all. And then you gotta keep this in mind. Just because there's only enough for one doesn't mean that one represents all. Because as far as I'm concerned, there may not be a room for the theologians MCs. There may not be enough room for the gospel MCs. You know what I'm saying? I have yet to hear the truth being played on like Boost Radio. And he's been in the game just as much as Lecrae been in the game. Or Flame. Flame, I'm talking about the latest Flame, not the Flame from God Knows. I'm talking about the right now Flame. I'm talking about Extra Notes Flame. There's not enough of that being played on radio. And then, well, unfortunately, the gospel radio station is not playing enough Christian hip hop to balance out. You know what I'm saying? They're not playing enough Flame, Lecrae, or the Truth to balance out the Kurt Franklins and the Donald Lawrence and Donnie McClurkin, and the list goes on and on. They're not balancing enough for that. And they're wondering why the next generation, the young generation, is not messing with their stuff, because they're not playing enough to balance it out. Because either they're not trying to reach that demographic, or they just sticking with the old blueprint because they feel like, well, if it worked 10 years ago, if it worked 20 years ago, it can work now. But for that list to spark up a brand new yet old conversation about Jesus need to be in the music, or people need to do better with their art, they take their art serious and whatnot, that lets me know either one, Show Baraka is not tapped in on today's music, or what he's saying is real and people are not 100% just having a conversation with him. They too busy, you know what I'm saying, miscomprehending what he was talking about, or they just thinking what he said and just run with it. But the truth of the matter is, that's always going to be Christian artists like myself that's putting Jesus in their music. Some of us are not getting their recognition or the acknowledgement from their work. But does everybody need to be acknowledged the same way as Lecrae, or the same way as 1K Views, the same way as Tory Deshawn, and the list goes on and on? No, not everybody's going to get radio play. That don't mean they not getting no attention. I had to tell one of my big homies in the faith, my big bro in the faith, who's also a Christian hip hop artist, but as a spoken wordsmith, a particular path is only designed for this particular person. Sure, this person did this, this person did that, but this path was meant for you. Because if you got all the accolades, the acknowledgement, the rewards, the recognition, if you would have got all of that on the same day as you discover your gift, would you handle it? No. Because at the end of the day, Christian music will always evolve into so many things that should not be or couldn't be. And there's always going to be room for evolution. It's always going to be room. But the question remains, though. Does this list 100% valid? Does it have to be a thing? Because the only thing I think that should be interested in that list is that there should be a chapter. There should be a union within the Christian hip hop. That way, when someone like Lecrae, someone like The Truth, someone like Flame comes to a city, they know that there is somebody that will represent that city, that's part of that city, that's also part of that culture, that community, that be willing to one book a show, two, bring other artists that's within that city that fits within that person. Because you can't give somebody like a 1K Few to open up for the likes of The Truth. Just saying. Because what 1K Few represent is the total, is his audience his audience does not connect with, or could not. And I'm just being hypothetical. Not saying this for real. Because it could be possible that 1K Few may have opened up for The Truth. Never knew. But one thing I do know is that you can't bring one person in thinking that this person can bring these people in for this particular artist. You feel me? Somebody got to represent the community well. Somebody got to represent the culture well in that particular city for that particular time, for that particular event. Otherwise, folks just doing stuff just to be doing stuff and thinking, well, just because it's rap, the youth will love it, we'll give the youth rap. No, some of y'all grown folks love rap too. And some of y'all adults love Christian rap too, and don't want to admit it because the church y'all go to doesn't like rap that well. And that's the truth. Otherwise, y'all would not be trying to book a Christian rapper once every 6 months. You feel me? Every 6 months. But you know what? That's just me. If you like what you heard, there's a like button. If you don't like what you heard, there's a dislike button. Comment. Give me your 2 cents. And if you disagree, that's cool. But as long as you're not disrespectful, that's all right with me. Subscribe. Share this video. Let's continue this conversation. Who knows? We might end up doing this live. And make sure you get that Man Under Construction. It's on all the digital outlets from iTunes, Amazon, YouTube, Spotify, Tidal, you name it, it's there. Until then, it's your boy P-Lot, aka the Brick Slinger. And as always, continue to sharpen one another. Support the kingdom. Take care and God bless. Laborers.